You are listening to The World As I See It podcast. 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 Hello, everyone. Welcome or welcome back to The World As I See It. So, if you are new here, I am completely blind, and this podcast is where I share my life, my experiences, and my honest perspective. So if that's something you might be interested in, please hit the subscribe button or the follow button. So today I'm going to be talking about something that is very personal and very honest. And you know that I share a lot of deep questions, and I think that people can educate from the deep questions, and that's why I share it. Today's topic is something that I want to address because it gets into the reality of how I navigate the world. And that topic is, how do I handle it when people treat me differently because of my blindness? Now, before we dive deep into this, I want to be clear that I know that most people do not mean to be offensive or hurtful, because in their minds, they usually think that they are being incredibly helpful, supportive, or even kind. But there is a huge difference between genuine support and treating someone like they aren't capable of living their own life, that they are independent of doing things for themselves. And some days, I will be honest, people look at me and their entire perspective of me changes. They look at the blindness. They look at what they think I can't do because my eyes don't work. Because that's the reality of it. Simple as that. My eyes don't work. That's it. And people look at the blindness and the fact that I can't see instead of me as the person. And it isn't necessarily the way that they speak to me. It's their interactions and it's their actions. So, it's the way that they step in or they take over as if I don't have, a handle or know where I'm at in my surroundings. And sometimes it's the way that they talk, but more often than not, it's their actions. And I don't want to be mean when I say that, but that's truly how it feels sometimes. Like my independence is being overlooked. And here's the thing. I've worked hard, and I still am working, to learn how to navigate this world. This world that wasn't built for blindness, for blindness. This world that wasn't built with accessibility in mind. But when people overhelp or step in without asking, it can make me feel like I'm being viewed as incapable or that I'm helpless and can't do anything for myself. And I'll give you a perfect example of what to do and what not to do. So think about this. I'm at a restaurant. And, we're there. And this doesn't have to be in a restaurant. This can be anywhere. And I'm eating lunch. Maybe it's a fast food place with those plastic cups and separate straws. Now, just follow the story. Just follow the scenario here. I've already felt where my drink is. So I know exactly
where it's sitting. I know where my straw is. Now, what would you do? Normally, if you've been around me, you probably wouldn't do anything. You'd let me handle it. You would let me be independent because you know that I'm independent. But sometimes, and this is not always, I haven't had this happen a lot. This is people treating me differently because of my blindness doesn't happen every day. It's just in certain situations and at certain places. So anyway, someone who may not know me very well, they'll automatically pick up my straw without saying a single word to me, or they'll be like, I got this for you, let me do this, and they will just start putting it in my cup for me. And so that's when I have to step up and advocate for myself. I have to be like, look, no, I've got it, hand me the straw. Like, I can put a straw in my own cup. Like, it's not that hard. Now, here's a right way to help. And it's one thing that if I ask, hey, where's my drink? And you say, oh, your drink is right in front of you, or they'll automatically do that. Like, if they set my drink down and then they walk away, like if the server sets my drink down and they walk away and I'm eating with, one of my friends are like, by the way, your drink's in front of you, and they'll show me where to, that is helpful. Or even saying that I'm going to put the straw in your drink for you after asking me, or asking me if I need help. You could also say, your drink is right in front of you with the straw that is already in it. Because that is actually very helpful, because if I don't realize a straw is already in the cup, especially in those big glass restaurant cups with no lids, and yes, I've done this a time or two, I might accidentally poke my eye when I go to take a drink because I didn't think to check to see if there was a straw in there. So using descriptive words, it is a great way to help because you are providing information without taking away my independence. You are letting me be the one in control of the action. And all you have to do if you want to help, it's very simple. Just ask. Don't just assume that I can't do it. And now, this is one that you should do when you want to help. So, I was at a restaurant one time during an orientation and mobility session. My instructor was just standing back, and when we got to the host stand, the person working there was incredible. Actually, the whole staff was incredible. My waitress was incredible. So she didn't look at my instructor for approval. Wait for them to speak for me. She looked directly at me. She asked, would you like to be guided to your seat? Or how would you like to be helped? And if so, and she asked how I would like to be guided. That is what I want. And I explained exactly what I needed at that moment, and she did an amazing job. She treated me like the person in charge of, she treated me like a person. She didn't define me by my blindness. And, the waitress was also wonderful. She set my drink down, told me exactly where she put it. That makes such a massive difference when you just treat me like anyone else. And if you also just want to have a conversation, that's also cool. If you are curious about how, I do a specific task, I am an open book. But please don't see the blindness and immediately change your perspective of how you treat me. Literally, the point that I've been trying to make is treat me like you would any other person. And if you are a social person, just say hello. If you don't know, just say hello. And if I don't know you, feel free to introduce yourself. Don't be awkward about it. Just be you. And I want to say to anyone listening that if you have done these things, if you have overhelped or acted without asking, it's okay. You may not have known, and that is perfectly fine. And that is exactly why I'm doing this. To educate. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just sharing my honest truth and how I feel. See me as the person first. Don't let my blindness define me in your eyes. My blindness isn't the whole story. Don't immediately look at the blindness and let that be the only thing that you see. The cane is just a tool. It's not the whole story of who I am. And I realize that most people, they haven't met a blind person before. But some days, having to be an advocate over and over again gets exhausting. It's a lot of energy to constantly be, the one who has to answer all the questions and to politely teach the world how to treat you like an equal. Blindness is not a tragedy. My life isn't a sad story, as I've said hundreds of times on this podcast, and I probably will say that 100 more. I am living a full, happy, and very busy life. If we can start there with mutual respect and seeing me as the person and not letting the blindness define me, then the conversation becomes something I enjoy. That mental load of the interaction is what we're going to dive into next week. I will be answering the question, do I ever get tired of explaining my blindness? We will talk more about the reality of those explanations and my honest answer to that question in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope that this perspective, helped you. I hope that you learned from this and that you didn't get offended by this perspective. If you have any questions, ideas for future episodes, or feedback, comment below on YouTube, or you can email me at theworldasiseeitpodcast@gmail.com. If this episode taught you something, please share it. Stay curious, keep listening, and I will talk to you in episode 36.
You've been listening to the World as I See It podcast.